Hey everyone, welcome to the Leader's Edge, your path to personal and leadership growth. I'm your host, Steve Steele, alongside my co-host and partner in leadership, Ernalita de Cumos. As certified speakers, coaches, and corporate facilitators, we're dedicated to bringing you powerful principles to fuel your leadership journey and personal growth. Whether you're an entrepreneur just starting out, a new leader taking the reins, or a seasoned pro looking to refine your skills, this show is for you. We'll be diving deep into personal growth strategies to help you strengthen your mindset and leadership abilities. But before we jump in, a huge shout out to all of our amazing listeners. Thank you so much for joining us each and every week. We wouldn't be here without your incredible support. Now, let's get down to business and help you unlock your full potential. Hey, Erlita partner, how are you today?
I'm doing great, partner. How are you? I feel like I just saw you a couple of days ago in
Yeah.
person.
Yes, I was in California visiting Ernie and the team and had such a wonderful time. Thank you so much, Ernie, for hosting me. It was a blast.
My pleasure, partner. But are you excited for today's episode? Our guest today is not a stranger on the Leader's Edge. This is actually his comeback,
Mhm.
right? Are you excited for him, partner?
Oh, I am. I'm so excited because I love this guy, and he's amazing. He is a man that we all have really. Well, I have learned, and you have learned to really love this guy. So, Ernie, tell us a little bit about him.
Will do, for sure. Our guest this morning is a father, comic, speaker, writer, and soldier with 3 tours of duty in Iraq. He is also a lifetime stutterer. He is a certified John Maxwell leadership speaker. Recently, Alabama Magazine selected as one of Alabama's top 40 men and women over the age of 40 whose lives and careers are characterized by great levels of giving and achievement. He was also named as one of the 15 Southern stand-up comedians that will make you laugh till you cry, which is very true.
And very, very true.
But it's a Southern thing. And GI Drops magazine listed him as one of 15 veterans taking the comedy world by storm. Everyone, please help me in welcoming Mr. Jody Fuller to the green room.
Yeah, Jody, it is so glad to have you, brother. So glad to have you back.
Hey, great to be here. Excited.
Yeah. So, Jody, we caught you in the middle of the road. You're kind of on your phone today because you're heading to a gig, and so yeah, we're excited that you're here with us. Thank you so
Yeah, it
much for
just popped
taking the
up
time.
yesterday. It just popped up. I had an opportunity to pop up, and hey, when opportunity knocks,
Absolutely,
be ready, right? It's too
Yes.
late
absolutely.
to prepare. So I was ready. So I said, hey, let's go. So I'm sitting right now at the Welcome Center in Mississippi, and there's a sign right there that says Tremont, Mississippi, birthplace of Tammy Wynette, the first lady of
Well,
country music.
there
And
you
I'm
go.
headed to Conway,
What?
Arkansas, named after
Conway.
Conway Twitty got his name from Conway, Arkansas. So I'm
Wow.
surrounded by country music today. So
Yes, you
it's
are.
great.
Well, you're good. Going to a great place. I've been in Conway before. It's a great little town. You're gonna love it. You're gonna have a lot of
Mhm.
fun there. So
Looking forward
today,
to
Jody, we're going to be talking. Our show is going to be a little bit different. I really like how unique the show is going to be today because we came up with this title that I don't think many people have heard before, and so we've entitled this show "Flaws and All: The Power of Advertising Your Imperfections." Wow, that's got a little ring to it. How do you advertise your imperfections? So, Jody, tell us a little bit about. I know you got some notes and stuff you're going to be talking to us about. You're going to be sharing with us, but I know some military stuff's coming out, covert and overt, and all that kind of stuff. But can you share with us a little bit where you're going with this? Kind of maybe tell us your story or a little bit what's going on.
Yeah, well, as Ernie said in the introduction, I stutter. Now, I may or may not stutter much while I'm talking to you guys because with stuttering, it's different for every person. I could
Mm.
stutter every single word, or I might not stutter for 5 minutes. Uh, Only 1% of the population stutters, so uh, there's not a lot of us out there, and we all stuttered di- 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 uh, differently. So obviously I'm going to stutter because that was a real stutter. Hey,
I
our
might add,
time.
Jody,
Hey,
I might
if
add that you're a keynote speaker as well. So you do a
yes,
lot of keynote
absolutely.
work.
A lot
Absolutely,
of
yeah.
keynote stuff. Right, right. I'm a stuttering guy who speaks for a living.
Yeah.
So that's a blessing to do that and able to bless others and impact others. But uh, stuttering is so unique, and usually when I speak, I'll ask the crowd, do they know anybody who stutters? Because again, only 1% of the population stutters, and
Mhm.
sometimes there'll be a few hands come up, and I'm like, is it the same person? Uh, uh, but I advertise. That's what we call it in the stuttering community. Advertise when you tell people that you stutter. As you mentioned, there's covert and overt.
Mhm.
Uh, Covert means you try to hide it. You try to do
Hmm.
everything that you can to try to hide it. You'll avoid certain sounds and certain words. Uh, you will avoid certain topics. You just do everything that you can to try to hide it because you don't want people to know for whatever reason. People have different reasons why they want to hide it like that. Then you have overt where it's just, hey, I stutter. I'm proud. I'm going to own it. This does not define me, but it is a part of who I am.
Mhm.
And that's what I've been since the eighth grade. I always remember it being the eighth grade is when I totally accepted it and made it a point to not hide it. And if I'm talking to somebody and I start out speaking fluent and then I get stuck, I'll just say, hey, just so you know, I stutter. And that's called advertising. And when I started doing that in the eighth grade, that's when life got so much better.
Yeah.
And for when I say advertising, mine is about my stutter, but it can be for any type of imperfection or perceived flaw. I don't like to say flaw. I like to say perceived flaws because we all have something.
Mm.
Uh,
Mhm.
but so anxiety and nervousness and stress uh, that doesn't cause stuttering, but it certainly amplifies it. So when I had all that inside me and I was just trying to do everything I could not to stutter, I specifically remember one time, and this wasn't uh, 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 just one single instance. I remember being at Sears. Ernie, you probably don't remember, but I'm sure Steve does. Sears used to be the place to go because they
Oh
had
yeah.
everything.
Hmm.
They had the toys, the
We're
tools,
aging
the
ourselves today, but
yeah,
okay.
the the gym equipment. They had
Everything.
everything.
Mhm.
And I remember going
Yeah.
in there, and I was talking to they had sports stuff. I was in the sports section talking to this other kid that I didn't know, but I met. I remember I couldn't get out my name, uh, so I made up another name. I believe I told him my name was Kevin. I couldn't get out the J to save my life.
Oh.
So one day, so anytime I hear somebody say, "Hey, Kevin," I look to see if it's that guy from 40 years from 40 years ago. But once I was totally accepted it and became overt. Oh man, I mean, it I might get stuck on Jody. It might take me, Jody to get it out, but I'm going to get it out. But again, I feel that that's applicable to anybody with any type of perceived flaw, whether it's eyesight or hearing, one leg shorter than the other, or whatever. And we can talk about it a little bit later, the practicality of that. But I think it's important to advertise uh, anything that because it lifts the burden
Mm.
off your
Yeah.
shoulders.
Yeah.
And again, it eases
Yeah.
up it eases up
Mm-hmm.
that stress and nervousness and anxiety that can make the for me or for anybody that can amplify that stutter.
Yeah, I do love this concept of advertising. And the verbiage that you used, Jody, is perceived flaws. One of the things that
Mm-hmm.
I would recognize is ADHD, right? That's categorized as a disability or a difference, and it's a perceived flaw as well. But one of the things that I've learned is really not a flaw. It's just more so of it's not common. It's not common. So you teaching us that it's something that we do need to advertise is powerful, because most of the time when it's something different, we shy away from communicating it. But with your
Yeah, yeah.
story, Jody, is there a cure for stuttering?
Oh no, 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 no. There's no cure. Uh, no, because the thing is, I mean, people. I say it's kind of like being an alcoholic. You may not drink
Mm,
for 30 years, but you're still considered an alcoholic. And I see people that 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 are covert, and they may stutter very little, and the average person can't see it. But
mm,
I call it, I have a studar, like a radar, and I can pick it up. And it
Yeah.
goes, they'll, so like after I'm speaking or something, they'll come up and say, yeah, I used to stutter. And I'll see the mannerism, something that they do. I'm like, you still stutter. I caught that. Uh, but most people can't see that. But
Yeah.
again, like you said, the ADHD or whatever, I have this, I guess it's because of my military experience, a lot of military and police officers. I'm hyper vigilant.
mm,
I look around a lot when I'm talking to somebody, and I'm listening to every word that they say. But I'm looking around, so I advertise to them so they know that they are important and their words matter. I say, look, I'm listening to every word that you're saying. I promise I'm taking it in. I just have to look around and see what's going on in my environment. Because if I don't advertise that, they just think I'm being rude, and I'm not. I don't
mm.
Mm-hmm.
care what they have to say, but it
Mm-hmm.
matters what they have to say. So it's important to advertise like, hey, this is why I'm doing this.
Hey, Jody, I have a question for you. When you said you were in eighth grade when you realized this,
Yeah,
right? So when you were in eighth grade, you realized the
yes,
fact
sir.
that you wanted to be more overt with it instead of covert with it, right? Okay, looks like we lost Jody. Did we lose him?
I think we
We
did.
lost him. He'll be
Oh,
back.
he's
There he
back. He's
is.
back. He's back.
He's back. Hey, we don't have his voice yet, but we got him. We'll get him back here in just a second. He'll be back on. But I was going to talk to him a little bit about, when he was young and he made the decision that he was going to just put it out there and advertise it.
Mm-hmm.
What did that do for
I'm
his?
here.
Okay, so Jody, here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
When you were in the eighth grade and you decided, you know what, I'm going to just put this out there to the world and I'm going to advertise it. I'm going to just let people know who I really am. What did that do to your confidence level? Did that change it any?
It boosted it big time. Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely. Cause I remember uh, going home routinely, crying because of people making fun of me. Now, I mean, I was
Mm,
uh, because I mean, I'm not a pity party type person, but I mean, I mean, I was made fun of a lot, and my stutter was much more severe when I was a child, but it was also much more severe uh, before I came out and just let it flow. Um,
hmm
because again, I guess I was internalizing it, so I had all that stuff built up, so it was much more severe. But yeah, it boosted my confidence exponentially. And I remember being in class. You remember when we were in school, in grade school, and you had to read in class. And
hmm Oh
You
yeah.
read maybe two paragraphs, and then they go down one row and up the next, and I'm trying to count to see which paragraph that I have that I'm going to read. I'm trying to memorize it. And then the pretty
Oh.
girl, and then the pretty girl 2 seats in front of me, who's got the most beautiful voice ever. She reads like 4 or 5 paragraphs and just throws me completely off. But
Oh no.
so
Oh.
that was that was terrible. But once I just let it go, it didn't matter.
Hmm.
And you said I'm a comedian also. I mean, anything that I said was funnier than anything that any crack that anybody else could make. And I do not remember anybody making fun of me after the 8th grade. And I also tell you this: one of the guys that was the most this guy was the star athlete, and man, I mean, he was relentless. This guy, and let me tell you what, my daughter was born 7.5 weeks early in the back of an ambulance on Friday, October the 13th, on US Highway 280, which is the busiest highway in the state of Alabama. And we spent 29 days at the University of Alabama, Birmingham, UAB, in the NICU center. And this guy that was so hard on me, he was the first guy to call and leave a message to check on us and let him know that we're thinking about y'all, we're praying for you, and all this. So that's one thing I tell kids. I'm like, look, some of these people that are picking on you, give it time. They're going to be good
Yeah.
people. They're just
Yeah.
going through it through a phase. But your initial question was about, did it build the confidence? And it absolutely did. I think when you own something, when
Hmm.
you own it, no, it doesn't matter what other people think. It just makes you proud because it's just part of who you are, whatever that
Right.
perceived flaw
Right.
uh, uh,
Right.
may
Yeah.
may may be. And you're looked at. When I first started doing comedy, it was just comedy. I wasn't trying to be a motivational speaker. I wasn't trying to be a keynote speaker. People would come up after me and say, you know what? It's amazing that you have this stutter and you have the intestinal fortitude and the courage to get up and speak in front of all of these people. And then they tell me other things like, I got a brother who's stutter. I never knew what it was like for him to go through a drive-through or to go on a job interview or something like that. But because I was so confident with this perceived flaw, I was able to impact others in a positive way. And then I'm like, well, if I'm getting that connection with people, and I'm not even trying. Maybe I
Mm.
could, do a little shift on this where I'm actually trying to impact people and can impact more people in that positive way.
Oh, that is
Wow.
beautifully
That
said,
is
Judy.
so much.
Beautifully said. So we will need to take a quick break. Jody just explained the difference between covert and overt. And again, the title of our show today is Flaws and All, the Power of Advertising Your Imperfections. Apparently, I am stuttering now too.
It'll
We
rub
will.
off on you.
When we return, we will talk about how this can benefit, advertising your flaws and imperfections can benefit you as a leader. We will be right back to the Leader's Edge.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Leader's Edge. I'm your host, Steve Steele, with my co-host, Ernie DeCumos, and our special guest today, Jody Fuller. Jody, that was a great session. The first segment was awesome. I really appreciate you doing that. We lost you for a second, but we got you back, brother. So we're
Right.
good. Yeah, absolutely. So we kind of talked a little bit about, being covert and overt and how we should be advertising, because the name of our show is Flaws It All, the Power of Advertising Your Imperfections. And here's the crazy thing. We all, at some point, have an imperfection. All of us do. Something we don't like about ourselves, or something. Most all of us have some type of imperfection that we have. And what
Mhm.
you're saying is, as a covert, people hide, and as overt, they let it be. That it's who they are. It's what it's the just letting it be open. And when you said you did that in the eighth grade, it built a lot of confidence in yourself, and you started to really change things to really be different for you because you embraced it. And that's really, really powerful, because a lot of times people won't embrace that, and they'll stand back and they'll be covert about it, and they'll hide, and they won't. But so I remember you said that burden was really lifted off your shoulders, and the stress and anxiety and nervousness really wasn't really the reason you were stuttering,
Yeah.
but it became the thing that really made a difference for you. It really stood out for you. It made a difference, and there was no stress, no anxiety, no nervousness from that point
Yeah. Yeah.
on. And
I
they couldn't stop you from talking.
that
So
no,
yeah.
no. I mean, sitting in class, I just beforehand, having the anxiety of being called upon in class to answer a question,
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
it was like I was, testifying against the mafia. I mean, it just pulse pounding, sweating. But then once I just totally accepted it, it didn't matter. I mean, I would raise my hand. They couldn't shut me up. I just talked so much, and one of I've been published 12 times by Chicken Soup for the Soul, and one of my stories was called "Embracing My Uniqueness." Again, mostly about my stutter, but it's something that can be applied to any type of a uniqueness that we all have.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Do you want me to?
Yeah, go ahead,
Can
partner.
I ask the
Sure.
question, partner?
Absolutely. Go right ahead.
Bring it.
So one of the things that we talked about, and I think one of the key points that you mentioned today, you're a leader, right? And obviously the show is about leadership and personal development. So one of the key points that you've shared is leaders should be overt with any perceived flaws and imperfections.
Yes.
People connect through vulnerability. We all have something. Can you please expand on that, Jody?
I think, and I think I heard John Maxwell or Mark Cole or somebody say this. People can connect
Mm,
when they see people who show their vulnerability, because a lot of times we see people, uh, and we think they're up on this pedestal and they're just have this perfect life, and like
yeah.
you may admire them, but you're admiring them from afar. You don't feel like you're really connecting with them. But that when they see that, you're just a normal person, and
Yeah.
you have the flaws and problems just like they do. You don't try to show that you have this perfect life and you got it all figured out and you have no problems at all in your life. They can't connect with that. But when they see that you do, that they're able to connect because they can feel it. They're like, okay, he or she, they're like me. They're like me. So I think it's important in connecting with people to show that you're not perfect. And uh, with my stutter, uh, I've had people before I actually told them that I stutter, there was this awkwardness between us. They didn't know what was happening. They didn't know if they should not. I can't really think how they worded it, but it's happened multiple occasions. So I say, look. I, 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 I stutter, and then like so that it just breaks up that awkwardness between us, and
Yeah.
I I was headed to I did a TEDx talk in Austin in May, and it hasn't been released yet. I don't know if it'll ever get released. I hope it does, but I got pulled over in Texas by the state patrol, and I started to talk. Really nice guy, and just a few seconds into it, I started to stutter, and I told him, I said, "Hey, just so you know, I stutter." I said, I'm not. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm not impaired or anything." So I just wanted him to know that. So that was a good time to advertise that. But I think it's important. Let's say, for example, you're a leader, and uh, as you said, you have uh, ADHD, or let's say you have a hearing problem, and
Mm-hmm.
you don't you haven't gotten hearing aids yet. You know, I think as a leader, to show the connection and you care what people have to say, instead of being embarrassed and just not hearing what somebody has to say, I think it's important to say, "Hey,
Uh, I can't hear too well, so
We lost your audio. Oh,
yeah, oh, I lost my audio."
you're
You're good
back. You're
now.
back.
Yeah, I just think it's important, and the same way, if something's wrong with your vision, you left your glasses at home or something, instead of saying, "Hey," just looking at, say you're seeing a presentation, it's important to say, "Hey, I left my glasses at home. I need you to read this screen to me," or so. Again, that shows vulnerability, and it shows again that you actually care what what they're trying to tell you.
And that actually kind of segues into the next point, the next key point that you have, and that's leaders should advertise their perceived flaws and imperfections. I need to
Yeah,
own it, right? I need
yeah,
to own it.
own it, own it.
Turn what might be seen as a weakness into a greater strength. So
Yeah,
talk to us about that. Why? So I understand I understand that as leaders we need to be vulnerable. I understand that as leaders we need to look at ourselves and say, you know what, we may have imperfections, we may have flaws, but sometimes as a leader, it's hard to own those things. I mean, especially when you're in front of your teams and stuff like that, right? That's
yeah,
difficult because
yeah,
you want to be the leader, right?
yeah.
So can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Well, so so I was enlisted in the Army to begin with. I was a medic. Uh, and I did, as I told y'all before we went on air, I did OCS, Officer Candidate School, at Fort Benning, Georgia. And when I got to my unit at Fort Worth, Washington, I was the platoon leader of the third largest platoon in the entire United States Army. Had 104.
Mm,
That's a lot of people.
Yeah,
And
it is.
uh, uh,
I
get
remember the stories.
yeah, but just speaking to the troops, it's important to be able to convey a clear and concise message. Just sometimes maybe you have to do it in a different way. There's more than one way to skin a cat, as they say. But uh, uh, they uh, they connected with me again, seeing that vulnerability, me being so open about it, and they knew how much I cared for them. And I might not have been the best at a lot of things, but I was the best at caring about my troops. And when again, one of the great Maxwell quotes: "People don't care how much you know till they know how much you care." But
Yeah.
I think owning the stutter and being able to go up and continue to grow in the military. And I finished up as a major. I could have kept on going a few more years, and probably made lieutenant colonel in the long the long run there. But being open about everything, that just really helped me with my career, not being afraid to talk in front of a large group of people like that. And then that has actually helped me segue into what I do now, speaking and performing comedy professionally full time.
Yeah. Can I follow up, partner, with a question? So, Jody, when you went into the military, everybody that goes in the military at some level has to go into boot camp, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so you went into boot camp and did you have any struggles with that with your drill sergeants? Were they like all over you because of your stuttering, or how did they treat you?
Uh, it, you have a couple of types of people when you're in basic training. You have the guys. I guess you have three groups of people. You have the guys that are always in trouble and getting smoked all the time. You have the guys who are just the best of the best and that are, doing whatever they have to do to get to the top. Then you're the guys like me who just kind of blended in. I did what I had to do. Didn't stand out. Uh, uh, and I was about halfway through basic training, and my drill sergeant, he said, Private Fuller, he said, you stutter, don't you? I said,
This in front of everybody? Is this in front of everybody?
Yeah. Well, it was a group of people. We weren't like in formation, but we were around a group of people, and he just kind of laughed about it. He wasn't making fun of me. He just I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was that day or the next day we did pugil sticks. You know what those are? Those big things that look like Q-tips. Those real big things with the padding on each side.
And
That's got a
you
long
fight
stick.
with them?
Yeah. We did that, and I remember you went against somebody head to head, and we did the best 2 out of 3. And I was going against one of my best friends, Delvin Harris from Richmond, Virginia. He was one of my best friends in basic training at AIT, and he won one, and I won one. So we were 1-1. Now we were going for the final, and you do it like a duel. You stand back to back. You take 10 paces. You turn around. You yell "kill," and you run back and you fight. We got there back to back, did our 10 paces. Drill sergeant's there watching us, and when I turned around, I said "kill." And I went running, and there was no stopping me. And Delvin was a great guy, but I whooped him. And the drill sergeant fell on the ground. The drill sergeant fell on the ground laughing. I'll never forget. Literally fell
That's
on
awesome.
the ground.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but that's the only problem. My recruiter, when I went to the military entrance processing station, that's MEPS. That's when you go get your physical and all that kind of stuff. He told me, now when you go down there, you don't be doing all that stuttering, because it can be a disqualification.
Really?
Yeah, depending on the severity of it, because communication is very important. And let's say you're on guard duty and the enemy is breaching your compound, you got to be able to get on the radio and spit the words out that something's happened. But he told me, when you go down there, if they ask you a yes or no question, you nod your head up and down or side to side. You say as few words as possible. And then when I went back in as an officer, I literally had, not my recruiter, but one of the other recruiters in the station there. He told me that I will never be, he said, you can't become an officer because you stutter. And he said, if you do become an officer, you'll be a staff officer and you'll never lead troops. Well, I always say the good Lord had other plans, because like I told y'all earlier, I was the platoon leader of the third largest platoon in the entire United States Army, and we had a great team. And that was a great honor to be in that position. And I was able to excel because of all the great leaders that I had in my platoon there.
That's beautiful. Wow.
Well, I am like enjoying the stories and at the same time the
I know.
lesson.
I have too.
We will need to take a quick break. This is going by so fast, partner.
Yeah.
So Jody just shared 2 out of the 3 key points as to how being overt can be beneficial as a leader. When we return, we will discuss the 3rd key point and how can someone, a listener today, transition from being a covert to an overt. We will be right back to the Leader's Edge.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Leader's Edge. I'm Steve Steele with my co-host Ernie DeCumos and our special guest today, Jody Fuller. That was a fast second segment. I mean, it was skyrocketed by, and so, but we didn't get to the 3rd point, and we want to cover that really quick. So, Jody, we were talking about the 3 keys to really key points to helping leaders, right? So the 3rd key point is this: finding the humor in any perceived flaw or imperfection can make everyone more comfortable. Finding the humor in it. So you got to tell me about that, because not everything has got humor behind it. But tell me about that.
I, humor can just get us through so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just laugh. There's a time and place. There's obviously a time and place for everything. But how many times have you? And I swear I'm not making fun of anybody. But how many times have you seen somebody that may have like a lazy eye or something, and you don't know where to look? You know, and just imagine that person owning that and acknowledging that, because he or she has to know that can create some awkwardness, right or wrong, So if they were just to say, I know I got this, just look right here and it'll be better. It would just remove that
Yeah.
that awkwardness, and then allow you to connect better. And it can be hard for some people. I understand. For example, my stutter is not nearly as severe as other people, but the third point, if to actually own it, the first thing you have to accept it. There are so many people who complain and whine and tell stories about, poor, pitiful me. Well, obviously, if you feel that way, in my mind, you haven't accepted who you are. And if
Mm.
you haven't accepted who you are, how can you expect for somebody else to?
Yeah.
That kind of hits hard for some people, I'm sure, but you have to accept yourself first, and you have to reject any and all self-pity. You can't feel sorry for yourself and be a great leader. You can, it's not uh, cockiness, but you have to have confidence. People want confidence in a leader, and when you accept those perceived flaws, then your confidence is boosted. And I just feel that that's important. And humor, again, can get us through so very much. It can break down barriers between people. I know I had a brigade commander my first tour in Iraq, and this guy, a great leader, but he had zero sense of humor. And
Mm.
he made his 1 star, which is an incredible feat. But the guy that came behind him, and when they did their change, this guy was a leader's leader, and he had the charisma, the pizzazz, the sense of humor, and he just retired recently as a 4 star general. And I remember doing a comedy show in Iraq on my first tour. We did a talent night, people doing different things. I remember that the first brigade commander, he was sitting on that front row and trying not to laugh, just being as stoic as he could be. A year later, we had our Christmas ball with the other brigade commander who became a 4 star, and this guy's laughing his head off because
Wow.
because he had a, a, a sense of humor. Uh,
Right.
Mm.
yeah, yeah. So I just think I just think humor is important. There's time to
Yeah.
be serious, obviously, but humor can get us through so very much. I did a show recently in Ohio. It was a fundraiser.
Mm.
It was a fundraiser for a home for abused women. Lots of sad stories, but they had me to come in to help with the fundraiser. And afterwards, this girl came up to me. I think I said earlier, only 1% of the population stutters, and of that, excuse me, of that, 4 out of 5 people who stutter are guys. Uh,
Mm.
Hmm.
so afterwards, this girl came up to me, smiling ear to ear, and she said, "I stutter too. I stutter too." I have never met another person who stutters. So she was maybe 27 years old. She had never met another person who stutters. And she said, I never heard anybody talk about it like that. And her husband was with her. And she turned around and was grabbing his arm and said, "There's so many things that you said that uh, I've tried to explain to him, but I wasn't able to connect with him for him to understand
Mm.
what I go through or the challenges that I have." And one thing I talk about is how people who stutter don't like to be cut off when you're trying to get your words out. But I think that's for anybody. When you're trying to get your words out and somebody cuts you off, you don't want to hear that. You're trying to get your words out. And I remember, and I had mentioned that during the show. There's a part that I talk about that, and I'm talking to the girl and I get stuck on this word, and the husband finishes my sentence for me, and she turned around and looked at him. So, have you not learned anything? But she had accepted her stutter, but she didn't know how to talk about it with anybody. And she had just been promoted at her work, and she was doing great. And I'm very proud of her success. But if I wasn't so open about mine, then I never would have met her, and
Right.
she would have been able to break through to her husband. Maybe they can understand each other better now. So you just never know how you can impact people when you do accept these perceived flaws.
Yeah, and I love that, Jody. So you've given us two tools on how we can be, coming from covert to overt. So that's fully accepting yourself, one, and reject any and all self-pity. You also have
Yeah,
a challenge. You also have a challenge to our listeners. And obviously, this is my last question. It's not even a question, it's an explanation. So, the challenge that you have, Jody, is immerse yourself in uncomfortable situations. Can you please expand on that?
Wow. Yeah.
yeah. You got to put yourself out there. Uh, if you have a speech impediment or whatnot, a lot of times you don't want to talk. You talk as little as possible. You got to go find somebody to talk to. Go talk to a stranger. Go call up an old friend and actually talk to them. You just have to get out there and do it. And the more you do it, the more comfortable you're going to be. And tell them, if it's a stranger you meet at the department store or at the park, start talking, and then tell them, oh, just so you know, I stutter. And oh my goodness, the conversations that can come from that, oh, my dad stuttered, or I've got a son that's one of the most powerful things to me, is when somebody comes up to me and tells me that their child stutters. So just the possibilities that 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 comes when you do advertise and you do talk to people and you put yourself in these uncomfortable situations, the more
Yeah.
you do it, the less uncomfortable that it will be, the more confidence that you will have.
Yes, definitely. And Jody, I know you're on the road right now, but what are you currently working on and how can people connect with you?
JodyFuller.com, JodyFuller, JodyFuller.com. I'm just, I speak motivational speaking, keynote speaking, and perform comedy, clean comedy, apolitical, non-offensive, clean comedy. Do a lot of churches. Tonight's a corporate entertainment event. Then on the 29th, I'm doing 2 school systems. I speak at teachers' institutes when they go back to school to kick the school off with good motivational humor. I'm doing 2 of those on the 29th and 1 on the 30th. All those are in Alabama. Then go to South Carolina for a medical group. Then on the 1st, I'm doing another school system in Alabama. Then on the 4th, I'm doing another school system in Kentucky. And then on the 14th, I'm doing an event in Toccoa, Georgia, some annual training for 3 housing authorities for their staff. And then the 15th, doing an event for the city of Montgomery, Ohio, one of their annual events. And so that's right outside of Cincinnati. So I'm looking forward to some Skyline chili. So
I was just there.
out there talking, trying to impact people, bring joy and humor, make them laugh, make them find the humor in some of the tough things they may be going through, and meeting people and connecting with people. And there's nothing like meeting people, connecting with people, impacting people, and making new friends.
Yep.
Wow, that is amazing, Jody. Thank you so much. It's been a great day, and I can see now why we entitled it "Flaws and All: The Power of Advertising Your Imperfections" with Jody Fuller. Thank you so much. But hey, guys, listen. Next week, sneak peek on the Leader's Edge. Join us for a powerful episode with Arlene Gale, a John Maxwell certified speaker and trainer, as she unpacks STUMP, STUMP, the acronym for Still Thriving Under Massive Pressure. You don't want to miss that show. It's going to be awesome. And as always, Jody, brother, I love you. Thank you for being here. You're just awesome, and I wish you the best of luck out there. Keep doing it what you're doing because you are doing an amazing job. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
And thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Jody. And just a reminder to our listeners, you can find The Leader's Edge on Apple Music and Spotify or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. We wanted to say thank you to all of our listeners and friends because without you, The Leader's Edge would not be possible. We are grateful to have you here and so excited to connect with you next time. But for now,